Hello and welcome to our channel where nightmares come to life, where the friendly face of a clown hides unspeakable horrors. In this chilling tale, we delve into the darkness of John Wayne Gacy, a man whose genial exterior masked a monstrous truth. Get ready for a journey into the heart of true terror. Before we begin, if you enjoy exploring the macabre and the mysterious, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more spine-chilling stories. Now, turn off the lights, settle in, and prepare to face the unimaginable. Let's get started. John Wayne Gacy was born on March 17, 1942, in Chicago, Illinois. From an early age, his life was marked by contradiction. Outwardly, Gacy was a likable and outgoing boy, eager to please. However, his home life was dominated by an abusive father, John Stanley Gacy, whose alcoholism and violent temper cast a long, oppressive shadow. Young John Wayne's attempts to gain his father's approval were met with scorn and physical punishment, leaving deep psychological scars. Despite his troubled childhood, Gacy strove to present himself as a model citizen. He was active in community organizations, including the JCs, and even ran a successful construction business. But it was his role as Pogo the Clown that endeared him to the community. Dressed in his brightly colored costume, Gacy entertained children at parties and charity events, bringing joy and laughter to many. The friendly clown mask, however, concealed a mind twisted by dark, unspeakable desires. In the early 1970s, young boys and teenagers began to vanish from the Chicago area, seemingly without a trace. Each disappearance was initially treated as an isolated incident, but as the number of missing boys grew, a pattern emerged that would chill the community to its core. Timothy McCoy, a 16-year-old hitchhiker, was the first known victim. In January 1972, Gacy lured McCoy to his home with promises of food and shelter. What followed was a night of horror. After a brief sexual encounter, Gacy stabbed McCoy to death in a frenzied attack, later claiming he experienced a mind-numbing orgasm during the killing. This first murder unlocked something dark within Gacy, and the disappearances continued. Among the other victims were John Butkovich, a 17-year-old employee of Gacy's who was last seen in July 1975, and Michael Marino, a 14-year-old who vanished in October 1976. Each boy was lured to Gacy's home with offers of work, money, or companionship. Once inside, they were subjected to unspeakable torture before being murdered and buried beneath Gacy's house. Gacy's unassuming ranch-style home at 8213 West Summerdale Avenue held a gruesome secret. Beneath the house lay a crawl space, which became a tomb for his victims. After sexually assaulting and torturing the boys, Gacy would strangle them, often using a garrote fashioned from a rope and a piece of wood. The bodies were then buried in the crawl space, hidden from view as Gacy continued his outwardly normal life. The chilling aspect of Gacy's crimes was his meticulous planning. He kept personal items from his victims, such as driver's licenses and jewelry, as macabre trophies. The stench of decay eventually became noticeable, but Gacy blamed it on plumbing issues, further concealing his heinous acts. Gacy even poured quicklime on some of the bodies to accelerate decomposition and mask the odor. By 1978, the growing number of disappearances could no longer be ignored. The police launched a more aggressive investigation, focusing on the last known movements of the missing boys. On December 11, 1978, 15-year-old Robert Pius vanished after telling his mother he was going to meet a contractor about a job. That contractor was John Wayne Gacy. The investigation led detectives to Gacy's home. After securing a search warrant, officers discovered evidence linking Gacy to several of the missing boys. They found a class ring belonging to one of the victims and a receipt from a pharmacy where Robert Pius worked. During a second search of the house, the police discovered a hidden entrance to the crawl space. What they found there defied belief. The remains of 29 boys and young men were unearthed, some in advanced stages of decomposition. The sheer scale of Gacy's killing spree was staggering and incomprehensible. Gacy was arrested and charged with multiple counts of murder. The trial, which began on February 6, 1980, became a media sensation. The courtroom was packed with journalists, and the public's fascination with the case grew with each passing day. Gacy's defense tried to plead insanity, claiming that an alternate personality named Jack was responsible for the murders. However, the prosecution presented overwhelming evidence against him, including testimonies from survivors who had narrowly escaped Gacy's clutches. The jury took less than 2 hours to convict Gacy on all counts. On March 13, 1980, John Wayne Gacy was sentenced to death. He spent the next 14 years on death row, during which time he painted disturbing images of clowns and other macabre subjects. Despite his conviction, Gacy remained unrepentant, maintaining his innocence until the end. On May 10, 1994, John Wayne Gacy was executed by lethal injection at the Stateville Correctional Center in Illinois. His last words were reportedly, "Kiss my ass," a final act of defiance from a man who had caused so much pain and suffering. As the lethal chemicals flowed into his veins, Gacy's eyes slowly closed, and his reign of terror came to an end. The legacy of John Wayne Gacy remains a chilling reminder of the evil that can lurk behind a friendly face. His crimes shocked the nation and left an indelible mark on the collective consciousness. To this day, the mere mention of his name evokes fear and revulsion. The story of John Wayne Gacy is not just a tale of horror but also a cautionary reminder of the importance of vigilance and the hidden dangers that can exist in our communities. The victims of Gacy's monstrous acts will never be forgotten, and their tragic fates serve as a stark warning of the potential for darkness within even the most seemingly ordinary individuals. The shadow of the clown will forever haunt the memories of those who lived through the terror of John Wayne Gacy, a true embodiment of horror in the modern age. John Wayne Gacy's early life showed signs of the darkness that would later consume him. As a child, Gacy was overweight and struggled with a congenital heart condition, which limited his physical activities and made him a target for bullies. His relationship with his father was strained. John Stanley Gacy was a demanding and often violent man who ridiculed his son, calling him a sissy and a mama's boy. Gacy's mother, Marion, provided a stark contrast to his father, offering warmth and affection. Despite her efforts, Gacy's yearning for his father's approval and love remained unmet, creating a profound psychological rift. This tension between seeking approval and internalizing rejection would later manifest in his violent outbursts. Gacy's early adulthood was marked by an eagerness to succeed and fit in. He married Marlyn Myers in 1964, and the couple had 2 children. Gacy appeared to be a devoted family man and a hardworking entrepreneur. However, his dark desires soon began to surface. In 1968, he was convicted of sexually assaulting 2 teenage boys and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Despite his apparent model behavior and early release after 18 months, Gacy's criminal inclinations had already taken root. The faces of John Wayne Gacy's victims tell a tragic tale of lost potential and stolen innocence. Each boy had a unique story, dreams, and aspirations that were cruelly cut short by Gacy's monstrous acts. Timothy McCoy, Gacy's first known victim, was a 16-year-old hitchhiker traveling to Omaha. He had a whole life ahead of him, filled with possibilities. John Butkovich, 17, was a hardworking young man employed by Gacy. He had argued with Gacy over unpaid wages, and his disappearance left his family devastated. Michael Marino, only 14, was a carefree boy with a bright future. His mother spent years searching for answers, never giving up hope. There were others: Gregory Godzik, a 17-year-old who loved fixing cars, Robert Piest, a 15-year-old with dreams of becoming an astronaut, and John Mowry, a 19-year-old Marine who had just returned from service. Each name represents a life brutally taken, each story a stark reminder of Gacy's inhumanity. The conclusion of John Wayne Gacy's story leaves us with a sense of profound horror and an understanding of the depths of human depravity. The veneer of normalcy that Gacy maintained, the trust he garnered as a beloved community member and entertainer, and the unimaginable terror he inflicted on his victims create a haunting narrative that continues to resonate. Gacy's execution might have ended his physical existence, but the psychological scars he left behind remain deeply embedded in the collective memory of society. His case has become a stark reminder of the dual nature of human beings, where monstrous evil can hide behind the most benign of masks. In the years following his death, Gacy's story has inspired countless books, documentaries, and films, each attempting to unravel the complexities of his psyche and the horror of his crimes. His paintings, many depicting the sinister Pogo the Clown, serve as chilling artifacts of a disturbed mind and are a grim testament to his lasting influence on the dark side of popular culture. For the families of his victims, the nightmare never truly ended. Each life he took was a bright flame extinguished far too soon, leaving behind grief, unanswered questions, and a painful void. Their stories, their faces, and their lost potential are a somber reminder of the human cost of Gacy's actions. As we reflect on the horror of John Wayne Gacy, we must remain vigilant against the unseen dangers that may lurk within our communities. His life and crimes serve as a warning, a tragic illustration of how evil can infiltrate the most unsuspecting places and people. The shadow of the clown will forever haunt our collective consciousness, urging us to look beyond the surface and recognize the potential for darkness in even the most familiar faces. John Wayne Gacy's tale is not just a story of monstrous acts, it is a chilling testament to the fragility of trust and the enduring strength of human resilience in the face of unimaginable evil. Thank you for joining us on this haunting journey into the life and crimes of John Wayne Gacy. If you found this story as chilling as we did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more terrifying tales. Share your thoughts and reactions in the comments below, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay safe and keep your lights on.